Need a last-minute gift idea? Looking to save time and money? If you've got a well-stocked pantry, these cookie mixes in a jar make perfect last-minute gifts for yourself or someone you love. They're easy to personalize, come together quickly, and make a beautiful homemade present that feels thoughtful without taking much time. Not only that, they're practical too. With just a few extra ingredients, you can go straight from mix to oven. Hi friend, come on in. Warm cookies fresh from the oven are such a simple joy, and with this mix, anyone can have that fresh baked cookie moment anytime they want. These jars store well, come together in minutes, and make baking accessible for anyone, whether you're giving them as gifts or stocking your own pantry for easy baking later. I'm using 1-quart jars for these mixes, and I'll show you 3 different versions: chocolate chip, oatmeal, and double chocolate. You can mix and match them how you like, but these 3 cover a lot of bases: something classic, something cozy, and something rich. For the chocolate chip mix, start by adding 1¼ cups of flour to your jar. I tend to use the scoop and level method, which packs the flour a little heavier, so if you spoon your flour instead, you might need closer to 1½ cups. To that flour, add half a teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and stir those in. This keeps the baking soda from clumping and prevents those bitter spots later. Next, layer in half a cup of sugar and a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. I had to mix up some brown sugar just for this, but it was worth it, not only for the depth of flavor the molasses brings, but for the convenience these mixes provided. Spread the brown sugar gently across the top so the layers look distinct and pretty from the side. You don't need to pack it down, just even it out a little. The ingredients can be layered in pretty much any order. Finally, it's time for the mix-ins. This is where the fun happens. Add about half to 3/4 of a cup of whatever you like: chocolate chips, white chips, nuts, or even festive candy pieces. Let the season and who you're giving it to guide your choices. This is a great project for kids to help with too. They can measure, pour, and even decorate the jars. Next up is the oatmeal cookie mix. Start with 1 cup of flour, half a teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and half a teaspoon of cinnamon. If you want the flour to stay a lighter color, add the cinnamon to the oats instead. Layer 3/4 of a cup of old-fashioned oats on top, followed by half a cup of sugar, a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and your half cup of mix-ins. I don't recommend adding raisins unless you know these will be used quickly. They can dry out or share the moisture with the sugar over time. Instead, if you want to include raisins, attach 2 small boxes to the outside of the jar with ribbon or string. For my mix, I went with mini M&Ms. They add great color and a bit of whimsy. Finally, let's do a chocolate cookie mix. In the jar, add 1¼ cups of flour, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Mix those together, then layer on half a cup of sugar, a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. Finish with half a cup of flavored chips. I used mint chips here, but chocolate or peanut butter chips would work beautifully too. Okay, great. Now you have a mix. What happens when you're ready to bake? In a mixing bowl, add half a cup of softened butter, that's 1 stick, or the same amount of shortening or lard if you prefer puffier cookies. Add 1 lightly beaten egg and a teaspoon of vanilla if you like. Pour in the contents of your jar and stir until combined. Scoop onto a lined or greased baking sheet and bake at 350 Fahrenheit or 175 Celsius for 11 to 13 minutes or until done. If you're using butter, the cookies will spread a little more unless you chill the dough first. If you want a thicker, softer cookie, use shortening or lard. This can easily become an assembly line project. Set out several jars and make a couple of batches of each flavor, changing up the mix-ins. Tie on a cute ribbon and a label with the baking instructions, and you've got an instant homemade gift that looks special but takes almost no time. Here's how each cookie turned out. They came together so easily since most of the work was already done. I loved being able to just dump, mix, and bake. No measuring and less mess. Even if you're not gifting these, they're a great time saver for yourself. Having a few jars ready to go means you can have fresh cookies anytime with almost no effort. You only need to remember to soften the butter beforehand, or use shortening. So whether you're making them as gifts or stocking your pantry, these cookie mixes are a great way to save time and money while still getting that homemade touch. If you love learning how to save time or money by leaning into your pantry staples, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got more recipes and ideas coming your way. Thanks for hanging out with me today.